All right, welcome back to another episode of the Bold American Podcast presented by Barstool Sports. We got a lot to get to today. The East Wing of the White House currently doesn't exist. It's under big renovation, so we're going to talk about that. Basic training prep for the Army is getting an overhaul, sort of, kind of. The U.S. decided to fly some B-1 bombers over the coast of Venezuela. Things are continuing to go on down in Venezuela, so we're going to talk about that. There is a quirky Navy guy. Quirky, I think, is an interesting way to put it, just because I think world records, when we talk about this guy, you'll understand why. He's going to break some more world records, I guess. And then finally, the government is still shut down, but some billionaire went into his piggy bank and decided to make sure that the military got paid. Very nice gesture, I think. So we'll talk about that. But before we get to that, last 72, lot going on. I have a lot to talk about. Rob has a lot to talk about. I don't think Ryan has much to discuss. We might skip over her. But actually, let's go with Ryan first because that'll be quick. Ryan, what's your last 72?
I didn't have much going on. So, yeah, kids' birthday parties, block parties, and
you look rested. You look
clean
rested.
the house. Yeah. No, I ran a marathon, and there you go.
Oh my God, that's so
Look
amazing.
at that.
Oh my God, I'm so excited.
Connor has been waiting all week to do that.
I know.
For listeners, Connor's been waiting patiently.
That just happened on the spot. I just got overwhelmed with such excitement that Ryan ran a marathon. It's unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
I will say that is a pretty good finish.
It's actually a pretty thick medal. It's pretty sweet. I mean, 50th anniversary of the Marine Corps Marathon.
Are they always looking like that ornate, or is it because it was the 50th anniversary?
They're always pretty nice. This is by far the nicest. Like opens
like the
up
fact that the globe opens and everything. That's a neat medal. I'll give you that.
What does it say inside for listeners? What does it say?
It says Marine Corps Reserve Marathon 1976. So I don't know what that, and then it says something else. Oh, hold on. It actually says something.
Oh, we're learning something new here, folks, in real time.
Okay. Before a Marine placed a medal upon them, those that crossed the finish line on November 7th, 1976 were given a patch. Today, we honor the legacy of our iconic event and embrace the future of running with the Marines. So I guess this was the original patch that was given out before they gave out medals. So they memorialized it in there. It's got 50th cool. Marine Corps Marathon, October 26, 2025. I ran it with 300 other people as part of the Travis Manning Foundation. We raised $250,000 for TMF.
Shit. Wow.
Yeah, which was pretty awesome. And yeah, I mean, so I've been talking to you guys, I shared a little bit that I was running this marathon, shared a little bit that I was like nursing an injury. So I'm going to I was super nervous about this. It's not my first marathon, but I didn't fully disclose what was going on. But my first long run, training for the marathon, I tore my meniscus. And this was not and I didn't share that I had torn my meniscus because I didn't want to hear everybody telling me what I should and shouldn't be doing. So, it was just I worked with some mobility and strength trainers. I have some friends that, work with people that have bad injuries and got to put them out on the field every Sunday.
Fine. So. Ryan was working with the Eagles trainer. I'll say it for her. She's trying to be humble. She's not good at it.
That's what I'm saying. Whatever. No, I had a young kid, this guy Corbin, 27 years old, and he does strength and mobility. So he was working with me weekly. I had a bunch of people that were awesome and orthopedic that was awesome that knew, when it was well, your meniscus is torn, professionally, I need to say, don't run a marathon, but I obviously know you're going to run it. So it was how do we get this done? But I would have runs where I'd go out and I'd feel okay. And then I'd have runs that I went out and I physically couldn't walk. So it was showing up yesterday was a total crapshoot for me. I didn't know which direction it was going to go. And I just kept trying to have this mindset that I was gonna, no matter what, I was gonna get it done. And I got out on the race course yesterday and I felt freaking fantastic.
Nice.
My knee swelled to gigantic proportions afterwards. I had no kneecap last night, but it's just the Marine Corps marathon. And I know I have nothing else to compare it to because it's the only marathon I've ever run. I've heard everything about New York and how amazing it is and all of this, but like there is something special about running a course, whether it's the Marine Corps or the Army. Like the Marines are out there volunteering. When I'm being handed a cup of water, it's from a Marine. You know, when I had this medal placed on my neck, it was from a Marine. And there's something so inspiring about that. And just like the camaraderie that exists and why people are out there. And again, I know people run marathons for many different reasons, but the people that are out running the Marine Corps Marathon, I think a large majority of them are running for something bigger than themselves. And like, it's cool to be a part of that. So, yeah.
That's not surprising. Yeah.
Are you still on a high post to run?
I mean, I don't know about a high. Honestly, I'm glad it's done. I'm glad I got through it and I didn't have like the issues that I potentially could have had.
Well, what I was going to say was that's not surprising to hear because anybody who's gone for a run in their life or run a marathon will tell you when you go for a run by yourself, yes, you can put on music and that can help. But sometimes just running and being alone here with your thoughts, and we don't need to go into the psychology of running, it's challenging. You're just out there with yourself and it's lonely and it's a battle with yourself. But when you're out there at a marathon, you're surrounded by people the whole time running. You have spectators. In this case, you have Marines. So you're drawing all this inspiration and this adrenaline is pumping through you that you can feel otherworldly, like superhuman in a sense, because you can't replicate that in training is ultimately what I'm getting at. So that's surprising.
Yeah. I mean, my longest long run before I ran was 14 miles, which is the shortest I've ever ran before I ran a marathon.
That's the other thing too. Like, okay, you ran 14 miles and maybe your knee was hurting. Maybe it was fine. There's so much that happens between mile 14 and mile 26 in terms of your body breaking down and fatigue. And I can understand having that apprehension because you have no idea how your body is going to react going beyond that 14-mile mark. So I applaud you for that reason. Not because you ran a marathon, but because you mentally overcame that.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And, you know, and I will say that I kept putting it out there, honestly, a lot. Like I was posting a lot, like I'm running a marathon. Not because I was running a marathon, but more because like I didn't want to be able to be like, I'm not going to run this, you know, like if I hadn't put it out publicly,
accountable.
Yeah. I was like, I need everyone to know to be like, when are you running your marathon? Because I could have pulled back very easily. And, you know, and I got out there the first 6 miles. I pushed a chair with a group called Ansley's Angels. It's a Marine whose daughter Ansley was handicapped and he used to push her in runs. That was the way they bonded. She passed away. And so he started a group where a nonprofit where they push people that, you know, handicapped people that can't otherwise be a part of things like this. So I did the first 6 miles with a couple of friends. And then actually, I will say I was like reserving the tank the whole time. My fastest split was the last 6 miles.
No shit.
I'll admit something. I looked up your times because I was just curious.
Yeah.
And I saw that. I was like, whoa, wait. Her fastest split was her last split.
Yeah.
It was impressive.
Yeah, because I turned them. I was like, okay, I've got, like, I realized that I was going to be okay. And then I was like, and my girlfriend, my best friend was running. She had never run a marathon before. And I was trying to stay with her. She did great. She finished about 30 minutes behind me because I was the whole time I'm like, I'm going to stay with you. But my knee did start to feel a little bit of pain. And you know, once you stop, that is not good. And so she started walking a little bit and I looked at her and I said, if I keep walking with you, I don't know if I'm going to make it. And she was like, she said, I'm going to finish this. I'm okay. You can go. And so then I just took off. And that was like the coolest part, the last 6 miles, because I had so much left in the tank because I took it easy the first 20, that I came up that hill at Iwo Jima and I was with my girlfriend and she was like, let's start picking people off. And we were just like running up that. I was like, make a hole. I'm coming through. So yeah.
It finishes at the Iwo Jima Memorial, right? Yeah. That's pretty good finisher.
Yeah. So you actually like the last part of the Marine Corps Marathon is literally up a hill. Yeah. And so it's, but you know, but it was awesome.
When can you see the memorial running up that hill? Like how far out can you see?
As soon as you turn, you can see it. Like as soon as you start running up that hill, you can see it. Yeah.
Sorry. And how long's that stretch? That last stretch?
Less than 0.2.
Oh, okay.
It's probably like the 0.2 of the marathon.
Got it. Okay.
It's not, it's a pretty steep hill, but it's not a long hill.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, and then beyond that, you know, they have the Blue Mile, which is a whole mile with fallen service members' pictures.
Yes.
And so they put like, they had 300 names, and starting all the way back from like World War II, like John Basilone was one of them. You know, it starts all the way back. And I don't know how it's done. I think it's kind of randomly done each year. And I went up to the table at the expo to look through the list of names, and Travis was part of the 300 this year. So that was pretty awesome. Yeah. So I got to see his picture along the course, and, you know, and it's a silent mile. It's very somber. But anyway, thanks for all of your incredible support as I trained for this marathon. I know Connor was really excited for me, and, you know, I'm just really happy.
My lack of vocal support was support.
Mm-hmm.
Because you had to do it, because you knew you had to shut me up.
Yeah.
So
I was
you're welcome.
I was always going to do it. Thank you.
How was the party after? What'd you do after? More important.
Well, after I drank a bunch of whiskey gingers because my stomach was a little.
Oh, okay. All right.
My stomach, but I had so many goos and gummies, and my stomach was a little messed up. So I was like, what can I drink that's also going to help? So I drank some Bullet and ginger, and had a good night. Just sat around and ate a crap ton of food.
Oh, that's the best part. Just that guilt-free drinking and eating post-marathon.
So today, I'll tell you the truth, and then I'll let you guys move. Today, I drove back from DC. I stopped at the Chesapeake House. I got a cheeseburger and fries from McDonald's. And
I was just say, did you get McDonald's? It's like what I'm waiting for.
Yeah, and then that was the first thing, and then I got home and I DoorDashed Taco Bell. So
I might do that tonight.
So that's what I've eaten today. Now tomorrow I'm locking in. Actually, I may fast.
No, you should do a full week, like birthday week. You should do fast food week.
No way. No, I feel disgusting right now. So, but today I had to just. I can't even. I can barely walk. I stopped in the rest stop and tried to pee, and like even sitting on the toilet, like it's painful. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's cool that you did it with your pal, though. I'm sure she appreciated that you were with her for the bulk of it.
Well, and I'll say this, Connor. Not to cut you off, but she put her post up today on Instagram, and I thought of you immediately because, again, this was her first marathon, and she puts up this post and she was like, this was the biggest accomplishment of my life outside of having my kids.
Wow.
Like that's how much, like for some people,
and
it should be like, that's how much it meant, because she put in months and months and months of training, you know? And so I'm so happy for her. Yeah.
Good for her. Good for her.
Well, I feel like a piece of shit now because I've never run a marathon.
Next year,
I'll have to run it next year. I'll have to do it next year. I think I'm compelled to do it.
I think all three of us should do it.
I have said if I were to ever do a marathon again, I would have to do it with people, just because I don't know. I don't know that I have it in me, just out of boredom's sake, to run for that amount of time by myself again. So I would want to do it and make it more of a fun event. And the hardest part for me would be I would get so hyper-focused on my time that I would make myself nuts.
Is that what you were doing for your previous marathons? Did you train in like a split
No,
to hit. Or you
I
just
didn't train at all. I just because when I was, let's see, yeah, because I ran 1 and 14, and the 4 were prior to that. The 4 prior, I was in the Army still, so I was running all the time. So I would go out for runs at do 5, 6 miles. I did a couple long runs before New York City, just again because I was bored, I guess. But then in 14, again, I was still a pretty heavy runner. So I don't know. The people who stick to those marathon prep programs and they go out for the long run on Saturday, I'm like, I got better stuff to do. I don't know. So I would probably have to do something to train because otherwise my time would be complete dog doo-doo.
You're too old to not do anything to train. And I don't say that in any way. I'm just
saying.
No,
you're right. No. Because I
run,
run, but I don't run like I used to. So I would absolutely have to do something. I'd have to kick up my running and get it back to where I would be comfortable. Because I wouldn't want to be in pain, but 2, again, I wouldn't want to come in. Sorry, nothing against anybody. I wouldn't want to run like a 6-hour marathon. I don't think I would do that. I don't think I would drop off that much. But nevertheless, I would want it to be fun, but also run a decent time. But I also think that would probably help me if I ran with people who I knew were faster.
I mean, we could do the Army 10 miler. I haven't done that yet either. I know it's not a marathon. But maybe the Army 10 miler, we ease Connor back into running. You know what I mean?
If I'm doing a race, I got. Let's just do a marathon. I guess.
Are you sure? Okay.
Yeah. So
I'm down. I'm down.
All right, we'll see. Rob, last 72. How was it?
Real quick, my last 72 was very eventful. Some of my buddies from 7th group, Green Berets, were in town, so showed them around Vegas, showed them a good time. Had some wild discussions. You know how those go. But real quick on the marathon stuff, I put up a poll on social media yesterday, and it was this. I tweeted, shouldn't it be mandatory for every Marine to run the Marine Corps Marathon at least once?
Mm-hmm.
Overwhelming yes. Like we're talking almost 1,000 yeses and a couple hundred no's. So it's skewed kind of 70% yes. What are your thoughts on either active duty Army, former Army, at least running the Army 10 miler, Navy, Marines, former Marines, Navy running the Marine Corps Marathon? Should it be mandatory?
I mean, I don't think Marine Corps Marathon should be mandatory. You can't make a marathon mandatory. 10 miler, I mean, that's up for discussion. I saw your poll. I think I clicked yes just because I thought it was funny. But truth be told, the first place finisher of the Marine Corps Marathon was a Marine. 2 hours and 16 minutes. Yeah. So,
there's something to be said there, right? It's like maybe for the Army 10 miler or something. I don't know. I just thought it was an interesting discussion because there's an overwhelming yes on my Twitter poll, on Instagram, and it's just an interesting take. That's all.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the weekend was good. I don't know how much time you guys have spent in Vegas, but whenever you get a bunch of guys who are operators in that kind of environment, it's always fun to see kind of what goes on and how they kind of maneuver around Vegas. But it's always fun.
Why don't you expand on that a little bit?
I think it's a lot of the personality that you see in the operator MOS types and the way they're either able to win at tables, hold conversations, get things done. It's very, very interesting to see how that happens. And kind of the respect they're able to command even in the nightclubs and the restaurants without wanting to. It's just awesome to see how those operator types are in day to day, even in nightlife environments, restaurants, so I'll leave it at that, but there's a reason why they are what they are, right?
Got it. So it's not like the meme that says Vegas ain't ready for us, and it's like, yes,
not really.
Vegas has seen 4 dudes in button downs and bad fitting jeans show up before.
Yeah, I know, and I've been part of that years ago too. But it's it's been it was an interesting week, but uneventful because I didn't run a marathon, so I'm not as cool as Ryan.
Okay. Okay.
Facts.
Okay, a few things. Number one, did you guys see the Cam Scattaboo injury in the Giants
Yes.
Eagles game?
Guy, what the fuck?
That was the other thing that I had to make sure I did. Finish the marathon before the game started, which I did.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was bad.
Well,
Terrible.
that was horrible. That just took all the energy out of the Giants. But did you see what happened after?
Which one?
Scattaboo in the
The
hospital.
one where Big Dom came and brought him pizza and cheesesteaks, or the one where
Yes.
he
Oh, that's
tweeted, "Thank you, City of Philadelphia, for the love you gave me." So all you
Mhm.
Philly haters, we treated him with the utmost respect. So
That's
I was talking about this the Big Dom maneuver
Yeah.
to bring him pizza and cheesesteaks. I thought that was a really classy move.
so cool. Yeah.
Because he's probably done for the season, and that stinks. And obviously, he was in a local hospital due to the severity of the injury. So,
What did they say it was? It was just an ankle sprain surgery or what?
Oh no, his
Oh,
foot
he-
was like
It was
in.
completely twisted, right?
It was one of
sideways.
those. Yeah, like it's one of
He
those. where-
dislocated his ankle.
I mean, dude, he'll be back next week. He just needs Ryan's doctor. He's good.
Stop. It was
Okay.
terrible. Like it
Yeah.
was one of those where you see it and you're just like, oh yeah, not
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. Also, speaking of food, I was at a bar that had an outdoor area on Saturday afternoon, and it was their Oktoberfest celebration. I just want to go on record. I hate Oktoberfests. I don't like German beer.
Ditto.
The music, they were like, genuine like German band playing like the polka music type. That was
Bavarian
yeah, it
polka.
was like grating on my ears the whole time.
Why
Should we
did
be saying this in front of Rob? I feel like he is Oktoberfest.
I know.
So it's two separate things. I'm wearing
Okay.
a German soccer tank right now. Let me explain. So the Oktoberfest part of Germany, as much as I love Germany, German soccer, I'm German born, speak it fluently. The Oktoberfest vibe is the equivalent of the Southern country music culture in America. You guys are New York tri-state area Americans, right? That's essentially where I'm from in Germany. I'm from like northern Germany, where we shit on the Oktoberfest vibe and theme too, because we think it's kitschy, cheesy, all that. So I actually agree with Connor's sentiment. German beer, I'll push back on based on what beer it is. But the Oktoberfest theme should actually only happen in September, because that's when Oktoberfest technically is. So this band or this event that was orchestrated for this past weekend is actually, you could tell them they're not actually culturally correct. Stop embellishing my culture.
Yeah.
Just to get some people in the fucking door of the bar. But dude, no, Connor, I 100% agree. If I was with you, I'd be like, let's leave. Let's go to Chili's or something, because that's better.
Well, we didn't know until like day of, because we had made the plan to go to that particular bar. It's a great bar.
Yeah.
It was just, we didn't know that was going to be happening. And listen, we won the war. I shouldn't have to be subjected to this German nonsense in the United States. But yeah, no, I'm not a big fan of German beer. The food's fine, whatever. But yeah, it was just bad. But
what beer was it? What kind of? And yeah, it's.
I don't know. I wasn't drinking. I was drinking Miller High Lifes, because that's what they had in cans. So
Hey, I don't blame you one bit.
Sticking to that American beer that I enjoy. Yesterday was very cool. Well, let me back up. If you're ever on the fence, if you're listening, and if you're on the fence of having kids, do it if for no other reason they are going to be your biggest cheerleaders. I was at the park Saturday morning before nap time, but we went after nap time to the bar with a few other families. We were at the park. My daughter climbs up this rock wall, and she gets to the top. She turns around, looks at me. She goes, "All right, Dad, your turn." So then I climb up the rock wall. It's like it was probably like a 9-foot rock wall. And I get to the top, and she is over the moon ecstatic. We were there with one of her friends from school and his dad. She's like, Mr. Corey, my daddy, he did it. He did it, Mr. Corey, he did it. It was like I cured cancer, according to my daughter, and what I just did. It was just such an ego boost that she could not have been more impressed. And like, I think back to the summer when I was going off diving boards and pools, and she could not have been more impressed. So if you're thinking about having kids, do it. And then yesterday morning, we took the kids into the city because there is a book. I don't know, Rob, you may or may not have this book in your household. It's called Pinkalicious. And Maggie loves
Pinkalicious.
Oh, okay. So
my girls loved Pinkalicious. They were my favorite.
okay, so
book
it's been
series.
around for a little bit then, I guess.
Yes,
huh?
yes.
Okay.
Love
All right.
Pinkalicious.
So
Yep.
she's all about it's one of the books that is steady in the rotation.
So cute. Yep.
So we went into the city. There was an off-Broadway production of Pinkalicious, and we went, and I think 3 or 4 times she leaned over and hugged Alex so hard with the biggest smile on her face because she had so much joy that I don't know she knew how to express how happy she was.
So
and just
cute.
seeing that was just a lot of fun. So
that's awesome.
have kids.
Yeah, Connor, on that real quick, I missed on the 72. We had a trunk or treat, and it was my son's first time. And I raced to it after work. I almost missed it. It was a wild work day on that Friday. It was his first time in a bounce castle. And seeing him at almost 2 years old try to figure out how to move his body. And he was also in a pumpkin outfit, so he looked ridiculous.
Yeah.
And all the other kids were like 8, 9, 10, massive kids. He's so tiny, but still big for his size. And just to see him figure that out and have the time of his life was like kind of a core memory too. And I was thinking about you and like the bounce castle, bouncy house. And I was like, oh yeah, I got to tell Connor about this. Because it's legit. He could have been in there for like 3 hours and he was safe. It was fun. He was like high-fiving me through that creepy net, that webbing that's like got a bunch of gunk on it. Like I was high-fiving him through that. That was like, I'll never forget that.
The trunk or treat thing, I feel like that's a newer thing. That wasn't around when I was a kid. And I guess
ditto.
Maybe parents started doing them and they took hold because I guess in a lot of ways it's safer if you just have a bunch of cars in a parking lot and you walk in a circle. I mean, it's a more effective way to get candy. You get a lot more candy in a shorter walk, but there's something to be said, I think, for going out in your neighborhood and earning your candy.
Yeah, so this was because of it's a work environment thing where my wife works. So
it's a great idea. I think they're great, but I just I'm a sucker for the old school.
Real quick, so is your son a pumpkin for Halloween?
You talking to me?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's a pumpkin for Halloween. We're all pumpkins, yeah.
And Connor.
So we dressed up over the weekend. We did a little pre-Halloween costume photo shoot where they were Wendy and Squints from Sandlot.
Nice.
Cute. Oh, I saw that. So cute. Love it.
Yeah. And then on Friday, Maggie's going to be Elsa, which pretty standard.
Yes.
So, I don't think Mac's going to be anything. So
yeah. Very nice.
All right. With that, let's get into the headlines. The East Wing of the White House currently under renovation, as we all know at this point. It was brought down as the first step towards President Trump's new ballroom, which is going to be 90,000 square feet with 1,000-person capacity. He had complained that when the White House has events, it's a small room and there's nowhere to host dignitaries from other countries, and we need to have a big ballroom that is commensurate with our country's stature. So he has commenced this massive construction project where the East Wing was typically used for the First Lady and her staff, and it had just a 200-person capacity. The East Wing was added to the White House in 1942. There are some criticisms right now, one being the cost. It is reported that it's going to be $200 million. That number has gone up to $300 million, but Trump says, don't worry about it. I'm paying for myself. And initially they said, well, they were just going to kind of update the current ballroom. But if you look at pictures, the East Wing has been just completely demolished and doesn't exist anymore. Yeah, so, and then the other thing is Trump's just doing this and they are critical, and they being, the press and Trump's detractors, saying that he should have gotten approval through the National Capital Planning Commission and the Commission of Fine Arts, but neither of those was consulted before these changes. So what do you guys think about the East Wing updates? Ryan?
Yeah, I mean, so there's been a lot of updates to the White House over the course of the years. Karen Leavitt was speaking, when she was giving a press conference, she said, where we're standing right now used to be a swimming pool. Right. And so she went through kind of like this used to be this, this used to be this. The one thing that I couldn't understand and find regarding the, she kept talking about that there was, that this wasn't Trump's decision not to consult anyone. This was like the legal opinion that was given on how things are done. But I don't know when previous changes to the White House were made, were they done by consulting with these groups? I mean, listen, here's what I'm going to say. It doesn't matter what Trump's going to do. Like you said, his detractors are going to have a problem with it. He's building a grand ballroom to host larger events. I do think as our nation grows and the need for a bigger place, I don't see it as a bad thing, especially when it is being privately funded. If the cost is 200 million or 300 million, he's resolved to say that it's all going to come through private donations. They've disclosed the list of those donations. So
yeah, some of those names include Amazon, Apple, Google, Microsoft, Meta, Comcast, Lockheed Martin, and there's a handful more on the list. So, some folks with some pretty deep pockets and companies.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, those CEOs and chairmen and executives were in the White House for a meeting or two, a couple weeks, months ago, and they had to do it in like some tiny room on some like makeshift desk. So I think it's time they get something proper and official, and a venue that's able to host dignitaries and have functions. I don't see an issue with it at all. I think, especially if it's privately funded from President Trump, then get after it.
Yeah. Listen, and I think anybody who lives in an older home in this country can relate. Sometimes people put additions onto their homes and people do renovations. If you look at West Point right now, it's just up there recently, and there's a brand new building, another academic building that's going up. So I think the outrage over the idea of doing a renovation, I think, speaks to people who hate President Trump are going to hate no matter what. And I think where people are really up in arms right now is that it was proposed as one thing, and then seemingly everybody blinked and the East Wing was completely demolished. And I think that's any time you do major renovations, because people have nostalgia for events that they attended in the East Wing of the old White House. And it is hard to make changes to such a historic building. I think if things were done in a little softer manner, they might have been received a little bit better. But I'm not opposed to making updates to the White House, because, as you said, I mean, updates have been made to the White House since it's first built.
I don't think Trump does anything in a soft manner, though. I think
that's the thing.
I think that's the thing. So, I mean, it is what it is. So,
I will say this though. Listen, taste is subjective. I don't like President Trump's taste at all. There's too much gold everywhere. It's like what he's done to the Oval Office, I think looks kind of tacky and cheap a little bit. And I worry that this ballroom is going to have a similar feel. I would like a little more of an understated classic look. Not that I'm like trained in the art of, decoration and decor, but I don't love his style and the renderings that I've seen. But again, taste is subjective, but I just think sometimes he's a little over the top.
I'm loving all the memes though. Like there's going to be a Buc-ee's, there's going to be an Exxon, there's going to be some other sort of extension, there's going to be a Publix. I think, he was going to do it regardless of what people think and regardless of the tone of approach. It did surprise me that it happened this quick. I don't know. For some reason, I thought this was just going to happen in like a year or two, and then all of a sudden everything came down. But to your point, I mean, routine maintenance is also good, guys. Do it on your own.
It's got 4 years, so it's not.
Well, the other thing too, I think this is really just bad timing. The government shut down, and people aren't getting paid and furloughed, and you're doing a construction project that is. It's not like the East Wing was like dilapidated and falling apart. It was operational and fine. He just wants to change it and make an update. It's just really, really poor timing in that regard. So
That's
Ryan, did you run by the White House? Did you
No.
run? Oh, okay.
No, you run through the mall, so you run by the Capitol. Good.
Have either of you? I've been close a couple times to getting some tours, but I've actually never been to the White House, and I would really like to go. Have either of you been inside and kind of toured the White House?
I've been in the Oval Office. Yeah, I've been.
Rob?
I went when I was 10 on one of those tours with my family, but I don't think we got in the Oval Office.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I've been in the White House several times, but I was in the Oval Office with President Bush 6 months to the day after Travis was killed. So yeah, you should 100% Connor take your kids, well, both of you, on a tour of the White House.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, but see, this is me being stuck up. Like, I don't want just like the standard tour. Like, I want to go inside the Oval Office, right? And this is also
That's not part of the standard tour.
I know. This is also a core memory for me and why it stings. And my senior year of football, not to get back into football, but we beat Air Force and then we played Navy. And if you win the Commander-in-Chief's trophy, you get to go to the White House, you get to go in the Oval Office. So I would have gotten to go had we beat Navy my senior year. We obviously didn't beat Navy. So I didn't get to go to the White House. So that's always what I think of when I haven't been to the White House as well. So that's a bad memory. But anyway, to wrap it up, I think renovations are going to happen. They're fine, but we just got to do things a little differently to stop just pissing everybody off. But again, I think some people are going to be pissed off to be pissed off. The last thing I'll say is go on Zillow, okay? And look at people's homes across this country. There's a ton of people that have horrible taste and don't know what they're talking about as it relates to homes and decorating. So I think a lot of people need to calm down, but I am a sucker for tradition and the way things are in this country. And I do hold those buildings, the White House, all the monuments down in Washington and all the different buildings. I do hold them in high regard and think they should be respected. So I just wish it was done with a little bit more tact, but I'm okay with updates. Speaking of updates, the Army wants to tighten their standards for basic training prep. I didn't realize this existed. So apparently there's the Army Future Soldier Preparatory Course. So if you fail to meet the physical or academic standard, there's a 90-day course you can attend before you go to basic training. It's basically like basic training for basic training. So you could previously attend the course in an attempt to improve in both areas, physical and academic. But now the new rules say you can only do one of those. So if you fail to meet the standard, sorry, you can't come. So Secretary Driscoll said this program has actually helped improve recruiting numbers. So just curious, have you guys ever heard of this program? And what do you think about doing this before we let people come into our ranks in the Army?
I didn't know about this program at all. It looks like the Navy has one. The Marines and the Air Force do not and have no plans. I'm totally not surprised that the Marines don't have one. But I don't know. I kind of have mixed opinions on it because in some ways, it's going to help recruiting efforts for the Army.
Right.
Because it's giving, potential recruits an opportunity to get to where they need to get. On the other hand, like I have people very close in my life that couldn't meet the Marine Corps standards for PT and had to work their ass off by themselves to get to that place to be able to go back and do it. So and they did it and they put in the work to be able to go and do it. So I don't know. It feels like a little bit of a crutch to me. I don't know. I'm mixed. I'm kind of mixed on it.
I'm mixed too. I think it's like MOS dependent, right? So I think it's if you have very skilled people who are academically, mentally top tier, and they need to go a certain specialty like linguists, intel, I don't know, certain really scoped out branches or MOSs, I could see where this helps that individual overcome a physical obstacle, get in shape, kind of like maybe the West Point Prep School does, Connor, not at that
Mhm.
scale or scope, but like it helps you get over the hump. It kind of gives you the 360 for the military life. You kind of get your feet wet or a lot. Maybe this helps those folks get over the hump too. Or if someone is like a physical stud and they need a, I'm not saying you can get, higher IQ points in 90 days, but you can probably start to address things and get ahead of it. But I think for certain skills, this might come in handy. And if we are,
Well, I don't think it's certain skills. It seems to me like it's just basically like,
Yeah.
physical
It's across the
strength and
board.
ability, like running and push-ups and stuff. And for that regard, I'm okay, because listen, the reality is I think if you just go walk around a middle school or a high school these days, I think kids are fatter now. I think, with
They
the
are.
rise of the internet and being online, a lot more kids are just more sedentary these days than they were. So if you need a 90-day program to get someone who can then be someone who meets the standards, I'm okay with that physically.
yeah,
I don't think you can in 90 days. I don't know how much you can really impact someone from not being academically meeting the standard. I am a little more skeptical of the academics
the
because
physical side for sure. I think that's huge. And just looking at, to your point, the health, the conditioning of 16 to 30-year-old men that we need in service, I think you're absolutely right.
yeah, because Ryan, the reality is like, yes, I don't doubt that there are some people who say like, hey, I want to join the military. Like, okay, well, I'm reporting in December. I got 90 days. I got to get myself into shape.
Yeah.
The reality is a lot of people don't have that discipline, but what they do have is the ability to follow orders. And if someone yells at them every day and says, get up, we're going to go for a run, they'll do it. If you're somebody who is unemployed and you want to join the military and the only barrier is your physical ability, I'm okay with that. Because as I said, I do think it'll absolutely help recruiting numbers.
I mean, 90 days is a lot too, like physically. Like, think about it. Like, Ryan got in shape for a marathon. Her friend crushed a marathon with 90 days.
I was in shape before the 90
But you know what I'm saying? Like, 90 days is a long time. That's fucking 12 weeks, man.
No, but you know what, Connor? You make a good point. And I think that's right. Like, listen, there are kids that become different people once they join the marathon. So if you're giving them 90 days prior to get, so maybe I'm changing my opinion, like, and position on that based on what you said. Like, I get that. That's true. I'm more like, if you want the desire, like, work for it and get it, but maybe they need that little pre-lesson in discipline, following orders. Yeah. So, okay.
From the reality of it is, we got to fill the ranks, right?
Yeah,
and guess what? Not everyone is going to be the tip of the spear Delta guy. Not everyone's going to be, Marine Force Recon. Those guys and girls, like, they're going to be okay and ready to go. But, some other people who need a little help, a little extra to get them to where they can join, I'm good with that.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think that's, and you know what? Listen,
I've changed my position on this topic while
let's go.
This is how you have discussions with people and you talk through and you can find a common ground. So
yes,
just an example of that.
Yeah. And I think that's good. I applaud the Army for looking at new ways to boost numbers, because I think if you're not adapting, you're dying. So,
and hey, I think Dan Driscoll's great too.
Yeah, big fan of Driscoll.
And yeah, so yeah.
Cool.
Yep.
All right. Continuing on, going back, Venezuela, still very busy.
Ryan's favorite topic.
Yes. Well, listen, go ahead, Ryan.
No, I mean, I don't want to say anything because I'm just going to get called a dipshit in the comments. So,
I always get called a dipshit.
But anyway, this past week, there were 2 B-1 bombers flying out of Texas on a training flight that happened to go into the Caribbean and up the coast of Venezuela. Imagine that. President Trump denied claims that the flights were meant to ramp up pressure on Venezuela. So last week, we flew B-52 bombers in a similar fashion, and the presence in the Caribbean is ongoing and actually seems to be increasing. We targeted boats 8 and 9 in the Caribbean this past week, and 37 have been killed in the attacks. The USS Gerald Ford was deployed to the Caribbean this week. There were 2 narco terrorists that were captured in a prior attack and were returned to their respective countries of Ecuador and Colombia. So just thoughts on ramping up our presence in Venezuela. Does that make you nervous that we might find ourselves in a conflict in Venezuela? And if so, what does that conflict look like? Does it bother you that we are continuing these actions in Venezuela and, or excuse me, off the coast of Venezuela?
Go ahead, Rob. You go first. I always go first. Go ahead.
Yeah, perfect timing linking up with my 7th group buddies over the weekend to talk about this topic. I think it's necessary. I think it's important. There's clear lines between what is going on with these individuals, narco trafficking, more drugs, laundering of weapons and humans, and it needs to be stopped. And I think we're doing the right approach here. Now, do I think it's going to escalate where bombers are really getting involved and we're striking land from destroyers and these carrier groups? I don't necessarily think so. I think it's a positioning thing, and I think we're doing the right thing.
Okay, Ryan.
I don't know. I think there's more to this than what we're seeing and reading in.
Very fair.
That's what I think. So,
Care to elaborate?
No.
Okay.
But I mean, I don't think this is as cut and dry as people think it is. I don't think, I'm trying to think of the best way to say this. I think there's more to this. I'll just leave it at that. I know that's a non-answer, but
no, that's okay. That's
not.
okay. Listen, I think a few things. Do I think we'll find ourselves with our military on Venezuelan soil? No, I do not.
No, I do not.
I think especially, I mean, we are still not that far removed from Iraq and Afghanistan, and I think our military is still reeling from the 2 decades that we've spent in those 2 countries. So I don't know that we will rush back to get into an armed conflict in another country. Number 2, I don't think Venezuela has the capabilities to stand up to our military. So that further cements the fact that I don't think we'll find ourselves in that country. Number 3, I mean, to say that Maduro is anything but a bad guy, I think would be naive. And that gentleman, and that's actually too nice of a word, I think, to describe him, but that man needs to be monitored and very closely to ensure that he's not doing nefarious things that ultimately can impact our country. And I do think there are potentially other things at play as well here, that there's more of a long game here with the country of Venezuela. And I don't want to speculate any further because, listen, I'm not getting intelligence briefings on my desk every day. And I think what's out there in the public is a tip of the iceberg in terms of what is actually available to us via our intelligence communities for our upper echelon of leadership.
Correct.
I also think, I think people are, and listen, just like President Trump, I think people dislike Secretary Hegseth. I think Secretary Hegseth could wear a purple tie and people would find a reason to get up in arms about a purple tie. Like, listen, I think it's human nature that when you dislike someone, there's the craziest things can irk you about that individual. And I saw that I was DMing with a friend and she was saying things and it devolved into her personally attacking Secretary Hegseth. And I'm like, well, that has nothing to do with what's going on in Venezuela. So clearly you just don't like the guy and we can leave it at that. So you don't support his decision-making based on the fact that you don't like him. Mm-hmm. So I don't think we as a country, I'm going to give our country the benefit of the doubt here. I don't think we would randomly just willy-nilly like a video game, just start blowing boats out of the water. I think there's a lot of intelligence attached to these attacks and they are coordinated and they are done for a very specific reason. But again, that's as much as I know because that's what's put out there in the public. So I'll leave it at that.
I will say one other thing to that, and you brought up an important point about like boots on the ground in Venezuela. I think if there is anything that for the people that are not supportive of this administration, I think they should understand or acknowledge that the last thing Trump is going to do without unequivocal, like, we have to do this, is put boots on the ground anyway, anywhere. Like, he's just not. Like, he has talked about that he's not a fan of war. Like, he is not a fan of war. He's just not. And so I think a lot of the things, and I truly believe that, there's a lot of things I could say, but I 100% believe that he does not want to put boots on the ground anywhere. So I think that a lot of what we see happening is a result of that not happening as an end game. So.
One more thing from that I forgot to add to. Just look at the region and look at the neighbors. Look where Venezuela is on a map. You got Colombia, which is going through some weird shit. The Nobel Peace Prize winner for this year was the Venezuelan opposition leader. We have
yes. I saw that in 60 Minutes last night. Yeah.
Fascinating, right? You have Panama, the country of Panama, just to the northwest of Venezuela. Biggest shipping route built by a West Pointer, Panama Canal, shout out. There's a lot of stuff at play here. There's a lot of sphere of influence activity. Venezuela is maybe the fourth largest producer of oil. Shipping routes, other powers are involved in that part of the waters. This is a show of force. It's the right positioning, and there's a lot more behind the scenes. But for anyone that's interested, just look at a map, look who Venezuela is aligned with. That might set you on the right direction as to what's going on.
Yes. Yeah, that's good, important context. So, in keeping with the Navy, unless you guys have anything else on this topic, or we can move on to some really super interesting.
Let's do it.
Navy vet who set 2 world records for doing lunges. And Mike McCastle, age 38, he set a world record for most lunges in 1 hour and longest distance lunged in 1 hour. The record was only part of his 20 plus hours of lunging over 4 miles. He's currently doing a 12 labors project modeled after Hercules from Greek mythology. He aims to complete 12 seemingly impossible feats. He's done 9 labors so far, including lunges. He's done most pull-ups in 24 hours wearing a 30-pound vest, 5,804. Longest full-body submersion in ice, 2 hours and 40 minutes.
That's crazy.
That's nuts.
Longest sustained 250-pound tire flip, 13 miles in 10 hours.
Bro.
And he pulled a 2-ton F-150 22 miles across Death Valley, 1 mile for every veteran suicide that happens daily. What do you guys make of Mike McCastle?
I'm giving him a follow right now on Instagram. This dude's a legend. Oh, he's based in Vegas. Dude, might need to
go do something with him.
Yeah, do like 1 minute of tire flips for his 10 hours. What a stud. What a legend. Keep it up, Mike. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw the video. Did you guys see the video? It actually just came across my feed of him doing the lunges. Yeah. I think it was like page 6 or something that had like posted it. It was something very mainstream. And it was crazy because it showed him at the beginning and then it showed him at the end. And I mean, obviously he had significantly slowed down, but you don't think about like 4 miles of lunges.
Nuts.
Like, that's actually insane. I'd be curious to know, the 2.5 hour submersion. I can't even say the word, in ice cold water. Like that. I don't even know how you like.
I've never even heard of that, Ryan, up until this article.
I mean, like a cold plunge for like 5 minutes is like painful.
You just work up to it just like anything else. You do it, for one day for 5 minutes, the next day for 6 minutes, all the way on up. Now 2 hours, 40 minutes. That's ridiculous because you're pushing the limits.
Well, I'm just talking about,
yeah.
I'm talking about how would you not get hypothermia? You know what I mean? There's some things where you can work up to it. There's some things where it's like, that's going to kill you if you do it. That's what I thought when I saw the ice thing. I mean, listen, I love people that just find crazy physical feats and are like, I'm going to tackle this. Like, I love that shit. I think it's awesome. I think it starts to push people that are sedentary or stagnant into a place where they're like, if they could do that, then I could do this, right? It's kind of that same notion. So I'm always a big fan of seeing things like this and just being like, wow. And then it's kind of like, okay, so like everybody's threshold and level of what that, it's all pursuant to like who you are, but there's so much. Like one of the things I kept, not to bring it back to my marathon, but one of the things I kept thinking and I was saying to my girlfriend along the course, because it was such this big deal for her and she was getting really tired and she was in a lot of pain. And I was like, that like your brain is telling you this, but your body has so much more to give. Like you have way more in the tank than you actually even recognize. And that is your brain telling you like, I'm shutting down, but you have so much more to give,
Yeah.
And so
my high school football coach used to say all the time, your brain's going to quit well before your body ever will.
Yeah. And you think about like, and you think about things like a marathon. Like if you talk to somebody who's never run a marathon, they'd be like, oh, I could never do that. I can barely run a mile. Well, my girlfriend started at 1 mile when she started her training plan. Literally, she went out and ran 1 mile. So I love people that like set the standard so high with things like, listen, none of us are ever going to do 4 miles of lunges. But when you
this is where I just step in and I'm always like I always find these world records to be like interesting because have a lot of people tried to lunge? Like was the previous world record 3.9 miles and this guy went 4? Listen, it's impressive that he's done these things and I love that he's doing these 12 feats. And I think it's awesome to push the human body and see what it's capable of doing. And extreme athletes, I think, are some of the most fascinating people. And what they're able to make their bodies do, I think, is so impressive. I'm just talking about from purely the Guinness Book of World Records. It's like,
yeah, that stuff's stupid. I mean, maybe
it's just silly. Like most lunges in an hour.
Yeah, maybe there's one other person or
that's my point.
People that have actually attempted to do lunges, but regardless, what it is crazy.
Yes, like I kind of want to see like, is there something out there like most laps around my block here in New Jersey while doing arm circles? Can I set that world record? Probably. Yeah. So that's
from
the world record standpoint.
Here's the interesting thing: who's the guy that previously held? If I was
imagine.
The previous holder of lunges, I'd be like, shit, all right, I got to be like, you work for this like totally like obscure Guinness Book of World Records and then some guy comes along and beats it. Like that kind of sucks. So yeah.
Yes. No, so I think this guy's cool. And I love that he's doing these things. And as I said, I'm fascinated by ultra athletes and what they're able to do. And that just actually made me think of, speaking about marathons, thinking about ultra athletes, have you ever guys watched that documentary about the Barkley Marathon?
No.
So the Barkley Marathon is this 120-mile race in the hills of Appalachia. And it's something ridiculous. Actually, let me look it up right now, that only something like, I don't know, like 20 people lifetime have finished it. It's something ridiculous.
It's 5 groups of a marathon.
20. Yeah. Okay. 20 Barkley Marathon finishers in the event's history. Let's see. Hold on.
What is it because of like the temperature? Because they have like the Moab 240 or something. Like they definitely have longer marathons.
Yeah. So there's a documentary. It's called The Barkley Marathon's the race that eats its young. And it's 3 loops of 60 miles. And it's up. The elevation change is ridiculous. The actual terrain is ridiculous. And it's supposed to be reminiscent of the same route that this famous prisoner took when he escaped from a prison. And I'm not remembering all the details right now. James Earl Ray, 1977 escape of James Earl Ray. The gentleman who killed, I always say gentleman. Some people, there's a lot of people that don't deserve that word gentleman to be tied to their
You're
name.
good, bro.
Man, I'm just like overly programmed to be polite. The man who killed Martin Luther King. So he escaped from prison, and they created this marathon like out of
there's kind of like an aura or a vibe around this race. I've heard of it now that you explained that.
Yes.
There's like a hippie, like almost like satanic style of like a cult following. And like the guy, I think I heard something of like the race starter lights a cigarette, and then like there's kind of like a hippie run aesthetic to it as well. It's like it's got this like edginess.
Yeah, so it's been going since 95, and there's only been 20 people that have
actually finished. Wow, that's cool.
So
that's your next race.
Speaking of smoking cigarettes, my friend who ran the marathon with us, my friend Brian, he said, I was talking to him at the bar last night, and he was like, the most badass thing I saw, he was like, I'm running, and these two kids, he's like, we were at like mile 20, and these two kids, we were at the porta potty, and they just light up a cigarette, and both of them are just standing at the porta potty smoking a cigarette, and he was like, what are you guys doing? They're like, we're just, before we hit the last 10K. And they were both active duty Marines. And I
was just going to say,
that's how my were.
Yeah, everybody who served in the military knows those people who just rip heaters no matter what, and they still go out and they run ridiculous times.
Yeah, and he was like a 4-hour finisher, my friend. So they were not like slow. I mean, my dad used to tell me before he would go out and do his PT test that all the Marines would light cigarettes and have a smoke to open up their lungs.
Yeah, that was still taught like in the field artillery circles like 5 years ago.
Back in the 70s, he's like, yeah, we'd all smoke a cigarette to open our lungs up before we ran. So
that thinking is still present to this day, Ryan. I guarantee you.
So funny. Yeah. So sorry, I digress.
Well, yeah, but anyway, so go watch that marathon documentary.
I will.
Barkley Marathons. It's a really good documentary. And if you're a runner, you'll really appreciate it, but it's very cool. Okay, last story. Obviously, we know the government's shut down. Military's not getting paid. Well, out of nowhere, out of the freaking clouds, initially it was anonymous, but it's been revealed that 83-year-old billionaire Timothy Mellon, who is the grandson of former Treasury Secretary Andrew Mellon, donated $130 million to ensure service members receive pay and benefits during the government shutdown. So what do you guys think about this guy who said, all right, don't worry about it. I'll write a check?
I mean, it's kind of fucking sad that we have to even talk about this. It's just like, it's good. It's cool. It's a nice gesture. This guy's got old money. He's giving back.
Wow. Whoa. I mean, saying he has old money, that's like the understatement of the century. He's from the Mellon family, which is like one of the like preeminent American families in terms of wealth in the history of this country.
Are they kind of like the Kennedys or like the Rockefellers?
No. Rockefellers, Carnegie, like they're on that level. Like you go back to like the 1800s and the banking fortune. And even before that,
Timothy, what about us old vets who got some disability? Are we getting our checks? Like, how about you throw us some, little package?
No, but I agree with you, Rob. I think it's disgusting that this is what
isn't it, Toner? It's fucking sad, dude. It's like, I don't know. Regardless of how you view politically, it's just sad.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, totally sad.
But our troops need to get paid. So,
but I also here's my other question around that. Does $130 million pay all the troops? It definitely doesn't.
Yeah,
right. I don't know.
4%. It's a little.
I don't know, but I would think that the payroll for the United States military has to be over 130 million, right? I don't know. I mean, I would think so.
Let's see what ChatGPT says in terms of what the payroll for one pay period is for the U.S. military.
Yeah.
Let's see if ChatGPT can give us that answer. But I agree. That sounds low to me.
Doesn't it? Yeah.
Yes.
It's like a drop in the bucket.
Oh, there's too much information here. It's not giving me a clear answer.
Yeah.
I bet.
I know, something I was curious about when I saw that.
Yeah.
I mean, again, I know it's only one pay period, but it still seems low relative to the the amount of people. I don't know.
Yeah. No, it's just it's crazy that it's come to that. And I don't understand. Like, listen, I do understand people are digging their heels in because they want to get their way, and that's why the government shut down and people won't budge on certain things. Just figure it out. Figure it out. It's just really, really sad that we've gotten to this point. But
so this is the longest. This is this right now. We are at as of today, Monday, when we're recording, we are at the second longest shutdown in our nation's history.
how much longer to be the longest?
I think it was 2019 was 35 days. Don't quote me on it.
Yeah. It was over a month.
Yeah, I think the last one was 2019, the 2018, 2019. I'm sure we could do a quick check on that, but I know this is the second longest. And we're rapidly approaching this being the longest shutdown ever. And let's also talk about, one of the big things that's going to run out at the end of this month is SNAP. And so I'm already seeing a bunch of people saying, hey, if you have enough money to go to the grocery store this week and buy groceries, pick up some extras and drop them at a food shelter because there's going to be a lot of hungry people on the streets. Like it's getting crazy. And again, I've said it all along. I don't think there should be one member of Congress that is sitting back in their district right now. Every single one of them should be in DC until this shutdown has ended. And I'd also like to see how many of them are not taking their pay. They're all getting paid. I don't know how we're not talking about that more.
Right. Well, granted, there's less people in Congress than there are in the military, but that just how could you take a paycheck? Yeah, on principle. How could you take that knowing the military's not getting paid?
Yeah.
But you're right. As it relates to the SNAP benefits, I mean, that's scary,
and that's this weekend. If it's not resolved by Saturday, that money does not get appropriated to those SNAP individuals, which is like state to state. I mean, that's at least what, 500,000 people. That's a ton of people, man. That's crazy.
Sad state of affairs. So hopefully they get that figured out. But yeah, Mellon family. They're operating on a different level of wealth, Rob. That's got to be a weird thing, by the way, to grow up in one of those families.
Like that.
Just different world from the world that we live in.
Oh, they're from Pittsburgh. Okay.
Have you ever heard of Carnegie Mellon or Bank of New York Mellon?
Yeah, I was going to say Carnegie.
No, it's clicking, guys. Okay.
Keep up.
There we go.
All right. That's all we got. Any caveats? I have a couple that I'll go at the end, but any caveats with you guys?
I have one caveat. I know you have some important ones, Connor, so I'll keep it brief, but and I don't want to go down a rabbit hole or anything, but Navy football is 7-0, and we'll just leave it at that. We don't need to say any more. I just wanted
What are they ranked in the AP poll?
I don't care what they're ranked.
No, they're 7-0. Like, aren't they ranked?
I don't really care what they're ranked in the. I don't care what they're ranked as anything because they're 7-0.
Rob, can you look that up? Are they ranked?
Nothing's coming up.
I don't really care. I honestly don't care because it's like I don't care. They're 7-0. So all right.
Telling us how much.
Rob, do you have any? Caveats?
On that, Army Air Force this weekend.
Yes.
We're gonna kick the Zoomies ass in Colorado. 9 a.m. Pacific time, 12 p.m. Eastern. Let's go on CBS. Will be a lot more action and fun than the Navy game.
You like having a 9 a.m. kickoff to watch?
So when I was drinking the last few years, it is kind of cool to wake up at 8 a.m. and crack a beer, Connor. I'm not gonna lie, like that's kind of dope.
I will say, you play golf long enough. There are some 7 a.m., 8 a.m. beers.
Every now and then it's fun, dude. You just get you get your day. And then the game's done by noon. You have a whole day ahead of you.
The one year, I forget, maybe it's 2010. Whatever year the World Cup happened, 2010, 2011, whatever. 2010. And the U.S. was playing. Okay, and I was at Fort Hood. We had a party on a Friday night. Or a Thursday night. We all took off that Friday and woke up because the game is at 6:30 in the morning, and we all woke up at somebody's house and just started drinking and having a World Cup party at 6:30 in the morning with breakfast sandwiches. It was actually a lot of fun. Not something I would do now as a responsible father of two, but there's a time and place to be drinking.
Time and place. Well said.
So
that's it for me.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, no, sorry. I hate to end the show on a somber and a sad note, but it needs to be mentioned. Today is Monday, October 27th, and then the last 48 hours, the Barstool family is taken two massive losses. We found out this morning that Cody Franke, aka Beef from the Foreplay podcast, passed away while he was at a wedding. And that is devastating. Cody was 31 years old, and he was only with Barstool for a short period of time. He joined us about a year ago, and immediately he had such an impact, and he was unbelievable and generous with his time. I became fast friends with him because as a PGA professional, he was just addicted to golf as am I. And he would take time. I would send him videos of my swing, and he would take time the same way he would take time with somebody who was paying for lessons and break down the swing and give me tips. And you could just see today the outpouring of love and happy memories and all of the good things being said about Beef. And it just speaks to the type of individual he was, that no one had a bad thing to say about him. And even though he was only with Barstool for a short amount of time, he made a massive impact on everybody he came across. And people that had only met him one or two times all came out and were saying what an unbelievable person he was, kind, just white heart. So that's just horrible, awful news. Given how old he was and just what a nice person he was. Just really, really sorry. So, we want to send all of our love and our prayers to Cody's family to deal with that loss. And then also, outside of Barstool world, but also very connected to Barstool, given his involvement with so much of the content in the last, 8 to 10 years, was Nick Mangold. And I think a lot of people know Nick Mangold as the former center for the New York Jets, former Ohio State Buckeye, a shoo-in, in my opinion, for the Hall of Fame here in a few years. He came out recently and put out that he was dealing with a kidney disease since 2006, and he had been quietly battling that. And he came out recently and put a message out there that he was in desperate need of a kidney transplant. He was doing content as of 10 days ago. I was texting with him last week. It was one of those situations where I think everyone just kind of figured that it would work out. He would get a kidney, he would go on with his life and raise his 4 children with his beautiful wife, and everything would be okay. And that just wasn't the case. He passed away this weekend. And again, that is somebody who was nice and kind to every person he met. I think sometimes, we've all run across professional athletes, and I think sometimes professional athletes, because of how they're treated by the large majority of people they come across, you can get a very inflated sense of self. And Nick could not have been more of the opposite of that. He was a fun-loving, genuine human who you wouldn't, if you didn't, like, obviously his size was hard to miss, but you would not have known the fame and fortune that he possessed based on interacting with him. And you see it with the outpouring of love across the internet for him and for Beef. And I think if we can take anything away from the unfortunate passing of these two great, great men, it's that when you put good out into the world, when you put love out into the world will love you back. And I look around right now, and there's just so much hate, and there's so much divisiveness, and you can also choose to just be good, and you can love strangers, and you can just be kind to your neighbor. And both of these gentlemen just exemplified that to the most serious degree. So just really, really sad to lose two awesome guys way too young. And my heart goes out to the Mangold family, to the Franke family, and I'm really gonna miss both of them, and they're gonna be missed by a lot of people. And that just goes to show like what a mark they left on this world, that so many people are as sad as they are to lose them. So I know that was long-winded, and I apologize, but just really, really sad news, and just a reminder, like I said, hug your friends, hug your family, reach out, squash those beefs. Don't be mean to people. Just be nice to your neighbor. Love each other. So with that, take care. Make it a great week.